On today's episode, we're going to talk about the sanctuary within. We have Vanessa. You're my sanctuary within.
No.
I'm
Yeah.
not within, but I appreciate that.
Oh,
That's
just
sweet.
my outside sanctuary.
A
Vanessa
that's a
Bennett.
little bit of a different kind of sanctuary.
Vanessa Bennett, licensed therapist. Also, Taune Lyons,
Also a licensed therapist.
also a licensed therapist.
It's true.
Look at
Taune,
us.
I knew you before you were licensed.
It's true.
Wow.
You did. Yeah, many years before licensure. It's a long road.
Yes. Hey, how come you're not in a van? Where are
I know
you?
I should be in a van, shouldn't I? I'm in a cottage and I'm on Vancouver Island right now in Qualicum
Wow.
Beach.
So, speaking of sanctuaries within, what's really interesting is Taune is on a little within journey. You're, I would say, you're nomadic. You are traveling around
Yeah.
and doing amazing things. How's it going?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going. I'm like really taking it in. It feels really amazing to watch my capacity grow internally while
Mhm.
I'm in nature so much right now.
Mm. Just that one sentence makes me like, oh, I long for that too.
Watch my capacity grow while I'm in nature. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Oof.
when you guys talk about the sanctuary within, tell me more. What are you guys talking about, and how is that important to our lives?
Oh, I mean, Tawny and I came together. I mean, I would say, Tawny, even just since we've been peripherally in each other's lives, there's been a connection probably. I would say I have felt with you around this combination of the depth psychology, which is what we're both
Yeah.
trained in, and the world of somatic psychology, right?
Mhm.
Which you have more of a specific kind of somatic oriented background. My somatic work comes more through yogic psychology, and mindfulness there, mindfulness based cognitive psychology, but really just marrying the two and how you can't actually separate them out. And how I think, and I'll just speak from my own practice here and my own personal life, but I feel like so many of the struggles that I see in clients and in myself, one of the biggest kind of root foundational issues, consistent issues I see is this inability to source safety within,
Mm.
and how that then kind of ripples out and then just creates issues in so many ways, right? So relational issues, interpersonal issues, I guess is the same thing, issues with feeling ungrounded, issues with not being able to, find calm in the chaos that is life, all of these things. So that, I guess that's the way I see it, Tawny. I don't know if you have anything to add, but it just feels to me like such a foundational component to what maybe we're not talking about enough, I suppose, in
Oof,
therapy.
Yeah. 100%. And I also just love the way that you weave together depth with somatic too. And yeah, I think what you just said right there, we don't talk about it. It's like we talk about the stuff around the stuff instead of the root of what is happening, like
Yeah.
under what the bullshit, if you don't mind that term, like of what we're actually saying is the actual experience that we're having.
Mm.
And I think that's where safety is created.
Yeah.
So, when you guys talk about the safety within, what does that look like? So, it's kind of my job to bring this to street level
Mhm.
for people
Mhm.
listening, and they're kind of confused. Does that mean to protect myself from abusive relationships? Does that mean what is the safety within? How do you get there? How do you know that you're there?
It's
You
such
wanna
a
take
big
that?
question. Like, no, in 5 minutes, answer
know.
it.
Thank you for listening, and we will see you.
Right? Leave it there.
I mean, I think it's a lifelong journey. I'll speak for
Mhm.
myself, like as an adult child of dysfunction. I think that there's a kind of normal that I'm used to that many people are used to when it comes to, as you spoke to, John, abusive relationships or
Mhm.
abusive systems of any kind. We are in an
Mhm.
abusive system.
That's right.
Like, we live in
Right.
one, right? And
Mm.
so I think that it's so easy to have an abusive relationship with ourselves because of that.
Yes.
I know I really internalized a strong inner critic. Vanessa, you and I have talked about that too. It's so easy to have that. And I think it's really just not to make it, easy, but it is simple in a way to bring compassion and curiosity to our experience. And that kind
Mhm.
of, in my view, creates the safety, the spaciousness within.
I love that you what I think is so important for us to understand, like you said, Tawny, it's like understanding that at our core, at our foundation as beings, we live in an abusive, dysfunctional system, right? And so this is to actually take blame. It's not even just to say like, oh, our parents screwed us up, right? I mean, our parents live in the same system that we're all living in the same system.
Mm-hmm.
And so if in a perfect world, our family system and then the system in which we live is what helps us create a sense of internal safety. So what that means for me is I know that I'm okay no matter what. I know that, this person outside of me can be acting any sort of way, but I know that I've got me and I can stay kind of like a rock in the chaos, right? Or I can not completely get overwhelmed and lose my shit over, the air quote, like small things. I mean, there's a lot of ways that I think having a sense of safety within actually manifests in behavior. But I think that because the vast majority of us were not raised with those tools,
Yeah.
this is now the life work of us as adults, right? Which is to actually build a foundational toolkit that in a perfect world we would have actually had as children growing up.
Yeah, that's it right there. Like internalizing those wise, loving, compassionate inner parents.
I have to now take what you guys have said and translate it. So
What?
basically, what I hear you guys say, I mean, it's beautiful. I can listen to you guys for days. Depth psychology, I love it. I think it's very poetic. I think it has all these layered meanings. I think it's but on the practical side, what I'm hearing you guys saying is safety within. It starts at home, but also it's about your relationship with self, right? And so can I ask you guys, what have you done to feel more safer with self? I know Vanessa talks a lot about codependency, um, um, and I talk a lot about exchanging my truth for membership, people pleasing, all of that. But uh, how does one start to feel safe within? How does one start to improve their relationship with self? I know it's a lifelong journey, and I know there's more than one answer. But what do you guys think?
Ooh, what did that look like for you, Tawny? Like, what was I guess I would love to know your first domino. That's actually an interesting question.
Yeah, no, it's really fascinating. And I think it's hard because I feel like there's a few dominoes, but the two that come up for me are finding yoga when I was
Me too.
a late teenager to feel every single part of me because I was so constricted that I couldn't feel myself. And then the second one is being willing, similar to think maybe what you just said, John, but being willing to look at all parts of myself, like even the ones that are really scary to admit, and to just be like, all right, like there's a place for you here too. Like sit down, I'll give you some tea. I kind of hate you right now, but tell me about you.
So for the listener, I'm going to highlight with a yellow marker. What I'm hearing you saying is connecting to your body, right? Yoga, dropping into your body. And then you talk about different parts of yourself. And this reminds me of parts work. It reminds me that we all have different parts of ourselves. And to connect, to accept, to build relationships with all parts of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think parts work, which by the way is just shadow work.
Say it.
So
It's like, you know what? It's like
shadow
Taco Bell.
work.
It's like Taco Bell. It's all the same shit.
Del
It's all
Taco,
the
Taco
same
Bell. I don't
shit.
know. People like get pissed if you say.
Gordita, bean burrito. It's just, it's all different forms, but it's
Just
all the
listen.
same.
I'm a big
Oh my
fan of
God.
giving credit where credit's due. Okay, and so
Yeah.
when we rebrand things in order to make money off of it, let's at least give credit to what it is. So it's shadow work. This is what parts work is, and it is. It's about like really. I think for me, my first kind of soiree to this for sure was yoga as well. So that was a big component for me. Completely changed my entire reality because I was, like many of us, living just neck up. Completely neck up, disconnected from everything below my neck. And out of survival, out of not knowing anything different, my brain felt safer, if you will, than my body did in many ways. And having a practice that allowed me to slow down and actually feel safe enough to slow down, to feel the intricacies of what was happening in my body, not just in the practice of yoga asana, but then taking yoga which is a bigger practice, right, than just the movement, and bringing it into my relationships, bringing it into my life, it really allowed me to feel into like, oh, I'm having this argument or this disagreement with my partner, and this is what it feels like in my chest or in my stomach. And I can survive that. It's okay. Like I can sit in that conflict and feel all this tightening and this heat and all this discomfort, and I don't have to hide from it. I don't have to make it stop, right? Whereas I think prior to having a body-oriented practice, I would have never even probably paid attention to the feeling, and I would have just stayed in my head and done whatever I could to stay in my head. Because again, that felt safer. And so I think this idea of finding safety within, I think it's completely woven in with body-oriented practices, because again, I don't think most of us live anywhere from the neck down in this culture.
Yeah. Let's just real quick bookmark there, because if you can't relate to yoga, so I in my story, you want to talk about dominoes. I've got a lot of dominoes missing, where it goes and it stops. There's no domino, and I got to manually hit that shit again. But for me, it was, and I didn't know I was doing this at the time. This was completely just maybe from fight or flight, or maybe the universe. This wasn't by design or by intention. I found CrossFit and motorcycles, and so it wasn't yoga for me. And it was really CrossFit for the first time in my life, functional fitness, dropping into my body, also pushing my body, further than I thought I can push it. And then motorcycles, the swaying, the vibration, the ability to, or the forced presence that two wheels and a gas tank gives you. And I bought a motorcycle just because I've always wanted one. I didn't know that it was a therapeutic tool. So my point is, yoga is not the only way. What's important is that you get out of your head and into your body. And that's a big step to building this sanctuary within.
I love that you brought up the motorcycle thing, John, because I mean, some of your followers, your listeners might have even heard us talk about this and other things we've done. But I say frequently that being next to you, the most in your body and the most grounded I've ever experienced you, is two things. One, when I'm on the back of your bike, you're so present and you're so grounded and you're so embodied that it is, it's probably the safest I feel with you in my own body, right? Not intellectually safe, but actually in my body safe. And then the other time is when I'm like side by side with you and we're working out in some kind of like CrossFit type class, because you are so embodied. Like it's not about anybody else. It's not about me. It's like you're so in it and you're just so present with it that, again, what I think is important about these examples with you, at least from my perspective, is also to showcase how that ripples out. And that embodied awareness is actually felt by the people around you as well. Because that's kind of a big deal when you think about that, right? Like, what does that mean? It's like, we're talking about, now we're getting really out there, but it's like the way that energy actually can be passed, I think those are huge.
Under sheets, not a lot of groundedness, just motorcycle workout, nothing in the bedroom.
Still the most grounded.
Is that shadow that's emerging?
We can talk about that kind of shadow later.
Oh man, maybe number 3. I just want like top 3. Maybe the third can be
top 5, maybe
5. Jesus, what would be before that? Holy shit! Like eating with me, drawing stick figures, all the stuff that comes.
No, I would say eating is not when you're the most grounded. I would actually not put that in the top 5.
I funnel food. Yeah. That's a part of it.
You're a Hoover with food. That's not grounded.
I think that's, I just want to say something here, not knowing anything about any of what you guys just talked about, but that, with the hyperarousal energy, I don't mean to say that like sexually, but just like the hyperaroused part of the nervous system, I think that's why somatic work is so dope too, because it's not just for soft girls. You know what I mean? It's
that's
like,
right. It's not
for
yoga
everybody.
only.
No, absolutely not. Like I lift weights a lot. I have a lot of hyperaroused energy. I am quick to anger, actually. I can be very reactive. And it's like, that's why, another reason why somatic work is so important to me. It makes me a healthier person and safer for the people around me when I'm noticing what's happening within, and if I need to ramp it up or if I need to ramp it down.
I've never heard that term, hyper aroused, and also that it not being a sexual term. That's really interesting. So would me submerging myself in ice daily, would that be hyper arousal?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly
what
can
is the definition
be.
of hyper arousal?
It's when you're in more of the fight flight stage, or when you're in
Mm,
freeze, where you're hyper aroused underneath, but it's like an
yeah.
overmanagement of your feelings. So it looks like collapse on the outside, but it's actually more of, in somatic experiencing, we call it a global high activation, because it's like
Mm.
zzz underneath,
Mhm.
but on the top of it, you seem really grounded. Not you, but like just anybody seems really grounded. And I think a lot of people are living there.
I was going to say, which funny enough
Mhm.
is actually the experience of somebody who's had an activated like avoidant attachment style. Is we look like we're
Yeah.
super calm and cool and collected on the
Oh,
Right.
outside, but underneath we actually
anxious as
tend,
hell.
yep, we're actually more anxious than the people who register as anxious attachment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Mm.
hyperarousal is not it's not a safe tree. It's not where to go. You're saying that
Well,
it's not.
we don't want to get
So with my
stuck there.
Yeah.
yes,
But
Right.
you
yes.
could be meeting your hyper aroused energy by hopping in the ice bath, and then that could be potentially helping to down regulate you into your ventral vagal system, where you're in your capacity. You're able to like breathe and be present, and instead of like, "Argh."
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Which
speak for
would be the
myself. That's me
motorcycle,
sometimes.
right? I mean, the motorcycle does
Exactly.
the same thing. You're
Yeah.
forced, like you are
Hmm.
forced to be super
Mm,
present. You have to, or you'll die, literally, right? And so, in a way,
Yeah.
it's forcing your system to downregulate and be present,
Yeah.
which you might struggle with without having that kind of outside container, you know?
mhm.
Yes. And also from an ADHD perspective too, last year I went through the training to do motorcycle, and I was like, this is amazing,
Mm-hmm.
because suddenly, just like what you were saying, Vanessa, is like it was just one pointed focus,
Mm-hmm.
because I have this overabundance of focus all the time. And it was like, no, I'm right here. I'm with the bike. I can feel it on my body. Like I felt safe for myself too.
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
happened with that? What were conclusions after the weekend? When you said
Okay.
you felt it on your body, did you fall and the motorcycle was literally
No,
on your
I
body?
didn't. I didn't know. I actually got a bike. Haha, though. Sorry. I
I'm a
didn't fall.
dad.
A lot of
Yeah,
people
dad
did
jokes.
fall. I actually had one of the bikes where you kind of lay down. I forgot what they're called. I didn't choose it, but it was the training bike. So you're kind of on it.
Mm.
I can't think of what
Like
they're
lean
called.
forward, you mean?
Yeah, leaned
So
forward.
more
There we
like a
go.
crotch
Yeah.
rocket kind of bike.
More
Okay.
like a crotch rocket,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'm gonna toot my own horn here, because the
Do it.
guy, including the asshole guy there who's yelling at everybody, I mean, he was also wonderful, but he was
Mhm.
just trying to instill in us the fear of, you're gonna, you could be killed. um he came up to me and he was like, so he thought that I had ridden for a really long time. He didn't believe that this was
Oh.
the first time that I had. So I think
Mhm.
I just like kind of got into the zone. And I think for a lot of people who have
Oh,
ADHD, that's a
nice.
thing too. So just kind of to add
Yeah.
that extra layer there.
Do you see motorcycles in your life, or did you want to just do it one time, kind of like how people jump out of planes to just experience it?
My dad rides, and so I'd like to
Oh,
go cross country with him.
what an amazing! That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
One day, I hope my daughter says that to me.
Hmm.
My dad rides, and I hope to go cross country with him.
So
So
sweet.
can we do one more tip? So I want to kind
Hmm.
of like bring this back. The sanctuary within, the
Mm-hmm.
importance of that. Uh, you must drop into your body. It can't be a heady thing. It's going from head to body, feeling self, and then um, what was the other part of this? Oh, your relationship with self, of course, abstract and forever, but having a healthy relationship with self. And if we were to pick one more, what's another component of this building your sanctuary within? I have one, but you guys go first.
I have one popping up, but
Mm-hmm.
it's similar. Is it okay if
Hmm.
I go, Vanessa?
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
So there's like this, I think it's a Zen tale about this guy who's on a horse, and
Hmm.
he's like running around everywhere. And the person's like, where are you going? And he's like, I don't know, ask the horse. And I think that's kind of like where we're often at in life, is we're the horse and not the human. And maybe that's being in the body, but it's like just understanding our conditioning by slowing down enough to create responsiveness,
Mm.
so we
Mm.
can actionably be in it ourselves.
Hmm. John, I want to hear yours.
What's one way you do that?
To create the responsiveness.
Hmm.
Let's see. I
Is it
mean,
meditation? Is it what's the
every day, yeah, I
practice?
have to do morning pages.
Okay, so writing,
Um,
journaling.
I have to be, or just like even like in an audio, because otherwise I'm just being run by the horse.
Hmm.
I have to
Hmm.
see
Mm-hmm.
what's there.
Hmm.
So mine's actually very simple, but I think so important. I spent most of my singlehood journey never furnishing my place because I thought my apartment is temporary until I find quote unquote the one. There's no point in buying expensive furniture, rugs, and all that. So when I was single, my place was always nondescript, and Vanessa can attest to this. It was just just generic forks, IKEA furniture, nothing, right? And I had lunch with a friend who was a feng shui person, and she was like, "John, just don't wait because you're kind of telling yourself that you don't have a sanctuary." She didn't use that word.
Mhm.
Um, and our home is our sanctuary. That's where you recharge.
Mm-hmm.
Buy some rugs. Buy some. You don't have to like go and buy Italian furniture. And she said, "Let me see your place." I was like, "No, I'm too embarrassed." She's like, "Let me." And so right after lunch, I brought her to my place, and she looked around, and she's like, "Listen, candles, rugs, and she was the person that encouraged me to make my place a sanctuary or a home, and not wait until I find love. So then when I come home, it's
Mhm.
not, a hotel. It's not transitional living, right? And I know the importance of that today because our home today feels like, to me, it feels like a sanctuary. Everything
Mhm.
from where I work to the backyard to where we play to the ice, the sauna. Like my house today, it's the most sanctuary, the most um, safe, the most just recharged space that I've ever had in my life.
Do you think that that's because you're now married to a Taurus?
Maybe. I think it has to do with
Oh
that. I
my
think it has to
god.
do with family. I think it has
I
to do
love
with
it.
a lot of things. Vanessa definitely has an eye for design, and I mean, if I was living here by myself, would it look different? Possibly, but we've really made this homey. We've made this homey, and I realize the importance of that as far as the day to day and the recharge.
Yeah, that's a big
Mhm.
one. And I mean, I
Yes.
think that's I mean, I can't even pick one, right? I think I have a ton. And I think that's also important for people to know is that all of these things that we each have as part of our toolkit have developed over time
Hmm.
and they've been practiced. And some of them you're like, oh, this might work. And then you're like, oh, it actually doesn't work. And that's fine. And you throw it out and you try something new.
Mhm.
There's no like right way to find sanctuary or safety within, right? It's going to look different for every one of us, period. And I think that, I can jokingly say, obviously, I'm a Taurus. I'm very sensory based. I'm high sensate function, right? And so for me, it's really grounded in the senses, period. And so,
Mhm.
I think I tend to, yes, I'm very visual. I am very aesthetic. Like I have to have nice, not expensive necessarily, but just nice things. I
Hmm.
like things to look nice and feel nice around me, even as much as like my desk being cleaned off, which as somebody with ADHD, that's tough for me, but it's also really important. But also like smells, that's huge for me,
Mhm.
and just really like relying on my senses, which almost sounds not juvenile, elementary, I suppose, the right word I was looking for. Um, but it's the most like foundational aspect of what Tawny and
Mhm.
I are talking about is like
Mhm.
the ability to tap into what we've already got, which is
Yeah.
it's our senses. That's like where we can start.
Yeah.
This is why she forces me to work out and take showers daily.
Me?
Yeah,
I don't force you to work out. You're gonna force me to work out.
that was a joke. That was a joke,
I was
Vanessa.
like, no way.
Um, so I want to end with this. If any of this relates, if you can relate to any of this, or you're curious about it, or you want to integrate this into your life, I'm gonna kick down the fourth wall and say that you could actually meet Vanessa and Tani in person as they're doing a weekend retreat. And this is what it's all going to be about. It's going to be about finding sanctuary within self. So not only are they doing groups and processing, but they're also going to give you somatic experiences.
Yeah, September
Mhm.
27th to 29th in Idlewild, where John does all of his retreats. We're doing it at the same our retreat house. And yeah, Tony and I we came together to really talk about how can we start with that foundational practices
Mhm.
of leaning into the senses. And so we've got some interesting tools that we're gonna allow people to play with and
Hmm.
experience themselves and then maybe tweak and adopt what feels
Mhm.
right based on the senses, all of them, including proprioception. Did I say that right? I always mispronounce that word. Um, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be like get the fuck out of your head fun. you know,
It's going to be feely fun.
feely fun.
Also, amazing food,
Part of the
nature,
senses, baby. That's
360
right.
views, sunsets. It's going to be a magical weekend. So, where do they go if they want to sign up?
Yeah, they can go to either mine or Tawny's Instagram. It's in our bio links.
What is your Instagram, Tony? What is your Instagram?
Mine is Taune Lyons, so it's Taunelyons.
And mine is Vanessa S. Bennett, Bennett.
We'll also put it in the show notes and discount code, not so much.
We could do a little discount code. We've got one for.
Oh, little discount code.
We could give a little discount code.
What?
Tony, what was our
Ooh.
discount
it?
code?
What is
I don't
it?
even
That's
remember
a
now.
great question.
Can I offer?
let me
Can I
search
offer a
for it.
word? Can I offer a word? It'll
Yeah,
be a
you
little
make one
predictable.
up, and we'll make one for your
Oh,
audience,
yeah,
John.
that's great.
Okay, let me do a little ASMR.
Oh God.
Shh. Sanctuary. Sanctuary.
That feels too easy.
Is it just one word?
Yes. Sanctuary.
Okay, sanctuary can be the discount code. We'll set it up
Yeah.
right now.
Yay, that's great. I'm so excited
Well-
to do this and to practice with people.
Me too.
Yeah, it's going to be a powerful weekend, and I'm so happy for you guys. And yeah, I just know it's going to be amazing. So check out their retreat, meet them in nature. It's local if you live in Los Angeles, and it's going to be really a lot of repositioning and a reset for your life. So
And tangible tools. We're all about them.
yeah.
Tangible tools to take
Yes.
back into your life and relationships.
Yes to that.
Awesome. Thank you for listening. Be well.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.